Robert here with the Piston Slap channel, and I do apologize if the mic's all messed up on this one. I just actually washed my helmet, so I had it all apart. Anyway, look at this beautiful, this is the North Fork of the Boise River, and we're actually camping out here. That's not us, but we're up by Barber Flats in the Boise National Forest. And we're heading to Swanholm Lookout, or Swanholm Peak. There is a lookout there. And I got my buddy Tyler Rue behind me, following his DRZ S model. So yeah, check her out. Let's get this map going so it's tracking us. Going. There's a big old bunch of gray there, nothing there. There we go. It's cool, 76 degrees right now, overcast. It's finally cooling off. It was 85 earlier. And yeah, I don't need to be a weatherman or anything. I just giving you guys a what's what. We're up at 4,000 foot, and I can tell you where I was camping, there's a mountain between the highway and this area, and I used my diesel to pull my camper up over the hill, and my diesel's an old diesel. It's an old 99 Ford Power Stroke, and I'm not a Ford guy. So you know, if you're like, oh, he likes Fords. No, I really don't like Fords, honestly. I'm a GM guy. I'm a diehard bow tie kind of guy. But I know when somebody makes a good product, and that old 7.3, that's a good product. Anyway, she got a little warm climbing over the pass. At I think we scale right around 23,000 pounds. So yeah, coming up over that hill, you gain right around 15 to 1,800 foot of elevation in a matter of about a mile and a half. You switch back it up the hillside, so you know, and the roads like this, I mean, you can bring a semi through on this stuff. And this, if you follow us back and take the right turns, you can actually go to a town back here called Atlanta. And it's not Atlanta, Georgia, it's Atlanta, Idaho. And a really cool place. I've been there once, and judging from the local that talked to me, because I have a Ada County license plate, they didn't want me there. I'm sure that's not that's one person versus the whole town of like 8, but really pretty area. There is a bar there. There is actually a mansion back there, believe it or not. And Adolf Coors from Coors Light actually owns it. I don't know if he does, but his company does. And they rent it out. Last time I looked, they rent it out. It's like 5,000 square foot. I think it has a tennis court and a bunch of other stuff. So gave him the wrong signal. Oh, some better camping areas back in here. Let's look at that river, man. I pull out my fishing pole and catch me a whole lot of nothing but maybe a sunburn and a hangover. Maybe. I don't drink a lot, but I think if I worked on it, I might be able to get her going. There's a little dam right here from some trees, and beaver dam or something maybe. Holy tent city. Yeah, give you guys point of reference. What time is it? It is the weekend prior to the weekend of 4th of July. So it's still June. And holy cow, what a neat little area to camp. Of course, that works. Alright, so I don't know if I already said it, but I'm thinking I should probably say it if I hadn't already said it. So here it is. I'm going to spit it out. The reason I'm back here is actually because of the Moto Idaho Challenge. there's a checkpoint at the lookout that we're heading to today. So hopefully we're going to make it, because I've heard that there's snow up in the higher elevation, and I think we're going up like 8,000 foot. But, you know, part of me wants to hit some snow. You know, I just want to, I don't know, break loose. But part of me doesn't, because last time I hit some snow, it was like dry road and then like a 6-foot shelf of crap you can't ride on. Another reason, and like I always, I think I said it before in another video, I never mention those guys enough. The Moto Idaho Club. If you're in Idaho, definitely worth checking out. They get you out in these areas, and you know, you might be on a dirt bike, a KTM, 2-stroke, whatever. They have challenge points all over the state, and some that are usually just outside the state. And how you want to get to that challenge point is totally up to you. You can make it as mundane as driving down this dirt road, or you can just map out some single track that might take you 50 or 60 miles of getting there, because I believe there is single track kind of throughout here. I know that there is one by my camp called the Hungarian Ridge or Hungarian Trail, one or the other. But that heads to Sunset Peak, which is a challenge point from last year. So I mean, that'd have been a cool. That's a 12 miles of single track. That'd have been a cool little video for you guys. Which I may shoot that video. I'm not sure. I'm just kind of leery about riding single track by myself just yet. I'm not at that level yet. I mean, I'll do the little stuff, but that's a 12-mile one, and it starts off like just going up the side of the mountain. Yep, it's definitely beautiful. This is what I enjoy. This is kind of my thing, you know. Growing up in Arizona, you don't see a lot of this, and there is trees and forests in Arizona. Just where I live, there wasn't. We had a lot of desert, and that was it. A lot of nothing. Bush, weeds, dirt. We'll get to see how an S model does in the single track.
Like, it's definitely still street, Robert.
Woo. Hello, S model, yeah.
That was a good decision.
Liking it?
Fuck yeah. It's easy shit.
Yeah. So I think the lookout's up there. So that's where we're headed. Either that or it's right there. This tree that's on this mountain going up, yeah. If you look at the tallest one, just passes a bald spot, and I think I see a speck of something.
Okay.
All right. Good luck!
I'm fine to walk. Like a bit.
That's all right. If you walk, I'm putting it on the internet.
Goat trail.
This is the best. What's up, man?
My axle moved.
I was wondering about that.
I hit that root.
Alright, so update on the trail. It looks like, for the most part, where we want to go, the trail almost connects and then veers off to the other side of the mountain range, and that ain't gonna work for us because the lookout's up there at the top. So update on that is we're not going to continue this trail, even though it's, oh my god, it's gorgeous. The other part is Tyler somehow his axle got knocked goofy, and his axle got knocked goofy and he was riding with his tire, and I thought it looked funky when I was following him. So it got to the point where it actually dumped his chain completely. So we got it straightened out, but we're gonna get back down to the road and call it a day for single track and get on the regular Jeep or just the regular force roads and head up to single track. Yeah. And if you've been following and you're paying really close attention to my single track series, you've noticed that every time I go downhill, the bike stalls. And I was having all sorts of issues with that, and I wasn't happy with it. What I ended up finding out was the gasket on top of the carburetor was leaking. I don't know why, but it was. So a new gasket from somewhere on the East Coast shipped over for like $14. OE Suzuki stuff. I'm done with the aftermarket garbage because you buy it and it either doesn't fit or half of it works, or enough's enough with that. So we got that carburetor. Sounds like it's pretty much straightened out now. She's idling pretty good. I also, took a quick plug reading, and if you know anything about carburetors, you know that a vacuum leak leans stuff out. It should run leaner. My plug was showing that it was like stupid rich at idle, and I could screw my air screw in all the way and nothing would change. The bike would just idle, and it wouldn't idle very well going downhill. And I understand, float level has a lot to do with that too, so went through and checked that was all whacked out as well. Yeah, float adjusted. So the stock pilot jet on this thing's like a 45. It had a 42 in it when I got it, and I've been rolling that 42 for a long time. And I checked my plug, and I've always noticed it to be a tad bit on the rich side of idle, but I don't mind being rich. It's safe. But when it's starting to cause issues going down hills and stuff like that, that's no go for me. My bike has to run no matter what. So I dropped that 42 down to a 40, and she seems a lot happier. When wintertime hits, I'll pull that plug out and take another reading of it, see how it is. If the burn's a little bit closer or still on the touch on the rich side, I think what I'll do is drop her down, my pilot jet down to a 38. And I know it sounds weird that the pilot jet would be that lean, but this bike had that, I guess DRZs have a what they call a coast enricher or D-cell enrichment device to keep the exhaust from doing whatever. I took all that off, and apparently when you take all that off, it richens up the circuits a little bit. So my bad for not researching that. I just took it off because it was a pain in the butt and it's in the way, and there was a bunch of crap. I think it had a vacuum leak in it or something. Originally I just capped it off. That's all I did. Yeah, so she's been capped for a while, and I've been riding it, never had an issue, but maybe it's just obviously my riding has changed tremendously with this bike. Saw that rock staring right at it. And from cruising Forest Service roads to riding this kind of stuff and rougher terrain, maybe that's another issue with the bike. There's a sign that says trail right there with an arrow to the left. I don't see a trail. Maybe people were going to the right. So, yep, tremendously different riding style. And I think that's one of the biggest things is maybe the bike is just okay. The bike has transitioned, you know, and it's its own right, you know. If it ain't happy, it ain't happy with the carb. And being out here in the sticks, a good tuned bike that runs good makes all the difference in the enjoyment for the ride. If you're having carb issues with your scooter, it's definitely not something you're going to want to deal with as far as being out here on this stuff. You know, plus your power delivery. I mean, there's so many facets on that. You know, if your power isn't right and you hammer the throttle to go up something and all of a sudden you just get a bleh or it falls on its face, what good is that going to do you? So that's why I'm like big on maintenance, and if you know something's wrong with your bike, don't just keep riding it, fix it. Because you get out here and you may be having fun for a little bit, but the strain on your bike will become more than what it can bear, and then you're going to cause problems for everybody else. Now, some may say that's what an adventure is, but my point here is we're trying to get to that lookout. Say we got a bike that's so messed up we can't make the lookout. Then what? So, yeah, I might have touched on that on another video. It is what it is. Anyway, guys, I'm Robert with the Piston Slap channel as I try to dump myself into the dirt because I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing. I hope you've enjoyed the moto vlog today, because it is, yeah, a lot of malarkey. But she is what she is, and yeah. Anyway, if you're new, subscribe. I'm encouraging you to subscribe. Subscribe. Hit the thumbs up. Lets me know you've enjoyed my video, you've enjoyed my content. If you see anything that I can improve upon, oh God, I don't even know if there's enough comment section for that. Drop it down in the comment section below. Or if you just want to say howdy, I'm always down for a good howdy and a virtual high five, or maybe even a virtual hug, because COVID-19 sucks. That's a topic for another day. I'm not actually going to touch on that because my views on COVID is probably greatly different than probably 80% of the world. The other 20% being you guys that watch my channel. I think you guys all get the idea. So, anyway, let's not finish on a dark note. Let's finish on a bright note. My name's Robert with the Piston Slap channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you guys next time.